Yeah, man. It's the 21st of January 2023, and I want to talk about the way that these gang stalkers use broadcast for sexual assault and molestation. And it's a really, it's not comfortable to talk about it. And obviously, already right from the beginning, you're talking about broadcast and artificial telepathy and all kinds of crazy stuff with remote neural monitoring that people don't understand. But us, the people that are going through this, the people that are truly targeted by all of this, and just to say the real truth, everybody's on neural monitoring, and if you don't have access and control over your own neurological broadcast frequency on this online interface that they call neural monitoring and mind control, then you're on remote neural monitoring in a way that somebody else has control and access to you in that way. So, it gets really strange, but when this stuff starts happening with broadcast, and probably about 4 or 5 days ago, I did a video that describes broadcast really well. Go back and watch that video, how broadcast works with mind control and all of that. And it's explained in a way that people can understand. People that don't even have this problem can understand. But if you don't have neural monitoring, then you're subject to have this happen at any time that somebody decides that they want to try to destroy you. So in my case, I got tangled up with some people that had neural monitoring, and at some point they decided that they wanted to get rid of me and try to destroy me. And it's like conspiracy to murder is really what it comes down to. But every day, all right, I've got four men, and they bring their buddies on with them, and one particular person has control and possession of my neural monitoring. And this person allows other people of her group, people from her group, allowed access to my neural monitoring to be gang stalkers. And not just anybody can come on to my neural monitoring. They have to be able to be granted access from this person, or perhaps these other guys that are already allowed on. So they're able to connect, and anybody who's a gang stalker, or maybe not a gang stalker, but lots of people do have access to neural monitoring, which is like a complete control panel to your neurological self. But when it comes to broadcast, it's not strictly some neurological sensation. You're talking about actual particle matter and broadcast holograms and people that are on mind control that are able to connect by being on mind control. Look back at that video. It's talking about how, like in the movie Avatar, how they're in that capsule, all right, and they're on mind control. And they're connected through broadcast to the avatar, and they're able to live as that avatar. These gang stalkers are able to do the exact same thing as broadcast. Now, one of the big things is torture, but another big thing is sexual violations, where I could just be sitting here and all of a sudden I can feel broadcast and like a static. All right, and you can feel it. The broadcast is like there's like particle matter within this broadcast, and you can feel it. I can feel it moving around in my genital area, and these guys are running their mouth and talking trash about it while they do it and acting real weird. And for me, on the victim side of this, it's a very real and serious violation and an actual physical experience. And I feel like I'm being sexually molested. And I don't want somebody touching all over my genital area, whether it's with broadcast or not. And especially these gay men, or whatever they are, they're men. They're men. These men male humans that are connected with me on neural monitoring, that have access to their neural monitoring and permission to connect with my neural monitoring and their neural monitoring, and then being able to violate my personal space and my physical body with broadcast. And for me, that's a very real physical experience. And it's like a rape experience, and it's like being molested or something like that. And you know, that's something like that's never happened to me, but with this happening with broadcast, I can somewhat imagine. I'm not trying to downplay somebody that had a physical experience with another human like this, but having this experience, the psychological impact it must be very similar, because I feel like I'm being sexually violated and molested against my will with no way to do anything about it. I feel helpless. And while they're on mind control, living as these broadcasts and controlling these broadcasts, I don't know the depth of how real the experience is for them. But I know typically when it comes to a gang, stalker, or anybody on mind control connected to living as broadcast or receiving the neurological processes of another person, it's very real. It's very real to them. They can experience life as if they were somewhere else and someone else doing something else, and experience life as if it was physically happening. And it is physically happening with the broadcast that they're connected to, because the broadcast is not a virtual reality. It's not an imaginary thing. It's a real life thing. It's just nearly invisible to the human eye, but that doesn't mean that it's non-existing. You don't see Hot 107 flying through the air. You don't hear my cell phone conversation flying through the air. You know they're there. They're physically existing in this signal. And these people can live as a broadcast and receive this type of signal. I'm not the only one. Okay, and this has been going on for years and years. They've done stuff with my butt, all right, and they are constantly moving around and doing weird stuff, my genital area, and it makes me feel very uncomfortable and very violated. And I'm not the only one. I've heard hundreds and hundreds of, I get messages every day from people talking about neural monitoring. And in many cases, especially females, they're talking about how they feel like they've been raped while they're sleeping and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't have a good understanding of how broadcast works. And so they really think somebody's coming in their house or their apartment and raping them. And, possibly. I don't know other people's circumstances, but these are people that are coming to me talking about neural monitoring and broadcast stuff. And I think it's a very serious thing that's going on. It has a deep psychological impact. I feel very sad, depressed, violated. And every day I got these idiots from this Viva La Crucial terrorist organization. You can find out a lot more about that on my channel in previous videos. They're just a group of idiots that have access to neural monitoring. They use it in very malicious ways, including for broadcast, rape, and gay molestation. They like to crawl around and do things around my genital area with broadcast. And I don't see very much difference. For me, it's a very, very real physical experience. And for them, on mind control, I can... I speculate that for them, it is a very real experience too. And considering the consistency at which they do these type of things, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. So basically, I have a bunch of gay men on my neural monitoring that want to do things to my genitals with broadcast, while I'm about to gag in this unconsensual nightmare of sexual assault. That's not to mention all the physical, real assault and torture where they're penetrating my body in different areas and like bone torture and so bad that like I'm limping around sometimes. Feel like I'm going to die a bunch of times. You see me posting about it every single day. Right? And just for the record, okay, just so everybody can try to understand, like I've been talking about this publicly for 7 years. It's been going on with me for around a decade, almost a decade. You know, I'm not a person that's on drugs. I don't even drink anymore. I work more than full-time. I go to school full-time. And I do a lot of other things to try to improve my life every day. And other than that, like I don't have drama in my life, and I don't keep trashy people around. I've extinguished any type of negativity from my life. All right? And I'm moving in the right direction with education, knowledge, financial, personal, all of it. So this is not just some quack job talking to you about broadcast. It's a very serious situation, and thousands of people are victims of this, and millions and billions are potential victims because this neural monitoring thing is still on the under, you know? So that's what's going on. I'm very fed up and frustrated with this ongoing physical torture, sexual assault, and psychological torture of not being able to think freely and having a bunch of idiots that want to comment or reply to every private thought in my mind. It just makes me want to cover up my head and myself and just wrap up in a bed and go to sleep. It's depressing. I can't think freely. Any little thought spawns a opportunity for them. While they're always trying to do a live stream show of neural monitoring about my life, of them doing stuff to me all day, every day. And it gets very hopeless feeling. And I've been trying to do something about this for many, many years, going to police and government agencies. They're not going to help. I've tried to get people in that I know personally to help me. There's no help out here. There's no help when it comes to neural monitoring. You're going to have to help yourself. That's why I'm in college for computer programming. That's why I'm studying financial stuff all the time and trying to get myself in a position to throw millions of dollars at publicity campaigns and lawyers. I'll probably end up being killed over this just because I'm too loud. But meanwhile, these 10,000 videos I've put out documenting my story over the last 7 years public, the story of me going through this for the last decade, it's going to live on either way. That's what's going on right now. Every day, all day, this is my life.